Futurefest, and we are here today with Dave Lakins, Manager Director of Key Digital, and he's going to be talking about launching a new product during lockdown, and Lisa's here to interview him and find out exactly what he's been doing. So I'm going to hand over to Lisa just to let you know that we are recording the session, so we will make that available afterwards. If you've got any questions that you want to ask, please feel free to post them in the chat bar. So that's on your floating toolbar or in the top right hand corner via the chat icon, and we will do that for you, or you can stick your hand up. But for now, if you can just turn off your microphones, turn off your videos and watch the interview. Thank you very much.
Lovely. Well, I'm not gonna grill him. This is not gonna be like Andrew Marr on.
That's not what you've done.
We've got our cups of tea, and it's just gonna be a nice friendly chat, isn't it, Dave?
Cool.
So let's start with a little bit about Key Digital, because you're based up on Prince Charles Estate, aren't you? Up on Poundbury.
We are. Yeah, I guess we're quite lucky to be up here. I started Key back in 2007 in a little office, just me on my own, which was a bit of a baptism by fire, having just been made redundant. But yeah, over the years, gradually built the team, added another one as we got more work in, and yeah, I think we probably had 3 different homes, I think, in Poundbury altogether, until we got to the office that we're in now, Story House, just on Bridport Road. So that was back in 2018. We're now 8 staff.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, very, very lucky with the team I've got. Great bunch of guys and girls. Are you
just saying that because Jamie's on the call?
Well, I've seen Jamie's there. There's also Dave Mackey's in there, snuck in. But no, I'm very lucky to have a good team on board. We work on a whole range of digital projects. I guess the majority of our work is probably bespoke web solutions. So we do some website builds, but we also, I think more recently, have got involved in doing a lot of integration work with websites and other third-party tools. That seems to be sort of like the big focus these days, is, you know, connecting client websites with something else in order for it to add, you know, more functionality. So things like API development is something we've been doing a lot more the last 2 or 3 years. And we've got a tagline. Is it a little bit cheesy? It's called "Unlocking Your Digital Potential." Okay, so it kind of fits with the Key stuff. But I find that really does help us to kind of focus on the goals. So, you know, when we're working on client projects and campaigns, that's always the one that kind of brings us back to, okay, why are we doing this? You know, when we work with a client, it's, you know, I'm not trying to introduce digital or a technical solution for the sake of it. You know, we want to have a reason for doing it. So I think that's the kind of the premise that, you know, we very much work on these days. It's about having clear objectives with a client, knowing what they want to do with technology, and as I say, making it work for them, trying to get it, you know, trying to get the tech work for them. We've got a client list, you know, a number of local businesses, from people like Dorset Tea, Palmer's Brewery. You know, these guys have got 55 pubs across Devon and Dorset. We're quite lucky. We've done a project for the Duchy, which has been great, with the launch of the Poundbury website. And then obviously we've got quite a long history with the hospitality sector, so working a lot with caravan parks and holiday parks. So that one's sort of like been quite a big a big part of Key over the years.
So it's been quite an eventful year, one way or another, this year. So I think it's obviously affected everybody, and we've all had to respond to the pandemic in different ways. So I know you guys have been working remotely during that period. So what have you learned in terms of when we went through lockdown, when the 17th of March kind of closed in on us.
Absolutely. I think that date's probably etched in my memory. I was up with actually in the Lake District, visiting a client, a holiday park up in the Lakes. Myself and Toby, one of my guys here, we were up there. We were in a hotel, and I think there was suddenly a commotion in the bar, and it was, okay, there's an announcement, and Boris has locked everybody down. And we're 8 hours from home, an 8-hour drive away, and it's kind of like, okay, what happens next? Fortunately, the hotel let us stay the night, which is good. So we'd already had a drink by then, and but yeah, I think it was, not knowing what was going to happen next wasn't, I think was certainly something that I felt. Well, yeah, it was a difficult one to deal with, and I think we've all seen so much change over the last 3 or 4 months. The first 3 or 4 months of lockdown. It was exciting, I think it was also exhausting, just from a management point of view, kind of thinking, okay, well, what's going to happen with this next announcement? What are the implications for that? What happens to our client base and our customers? What does it mean for staff? I remember coming home, dropping some stuff back at the office and finding literally, all of the displays had gone, chairs had gone, as the staff had kind of picked stuff up and
just gone home.
Just gone home. So I think it definitely, it was certainly tiring from my point of view to begin with. I think what have I learned? I think it's made me think about trying to be comfortable with change, if you can be.
Yeah.
Just the sheer, every time Boris came on the telly or there was a new, lockdown measure brought into place, it was kind of like, okay, well, what are the implications for us next? So I think it was a case of, okay, we need to accept those things that are going to happen, not fight it. There are going to be some things that we can work with. So it was more of a case of focusing on the things that we can do. The little changes that we needed to make, rather than kind of go, okay, we're faced with this massive issue, how do we deal with it? It was very much, okay, what are the little things that we can do that are going to have an impact now, and try and work with it. I think the other issue was to some extent in the back of my mind was always having a plan B.
Yes.
Whatever that was, but and we were quite lucky because it didn't have to furlough anybody. But kind of thinking, well, okay, what is the plan B just in case? So, I mentioned that we work within the hospitality sector. I think it was March the 25th when they were told that they're on complete lockdown. So the next day we'd got half our client base that basically said,
not there.
We need to stop any retained work with you. We had, I think, probably 2 or 3 web builds that were in the pipeline that were postponed, put on hold straight away. So that's pretty scary. But we coped. And then I think it was the back end of June, I think it was, there was an announcement that July 4th was the date when everybody could open. I mean, it was just pandemonium for us. All these holiday parks that had been told that they could open, but had now got certain restrictions that they've got to adhere to. So, a lot of kind of frantic moments, all hands to the pump. And I have to say, my guys, kind of coped with that really well. Test and trace. The government said everybody, hospitality had to have test and trace systems put into place. With a client like Palmer's Brewery, turned around and said, can you deliver one of these to us? And can we have it like yesterday? You know, I'm proud to say that the guy, you know, my team stepped up within 2 days, got one out in the marketplace and was working. So I guess it's seeing some of those opportunities out there, but also, you know, knowing that we've actually got to look out for our customers and help them out.
So what's it been like for the team during this period? Because, you know, they've obviously all been working from home. That's very different. As the technology stood up and helped, has it felt a kind of different way of working?
I think the thing that struck me the most was the technology seems to have worked. And I think the reason I say that is that I don't think, okay, there's a couple of odd days when I was battling with my other half at home over, you know, who'd got the most bandwidth or who needed it. But in most cases, most scenarios, the broadband held up. And I think, you know, that was kind of like the saving grace. So, you know, hats off to the ISPs and the BTs of this world, etc., who kept that going. I think people took to the technology very quickly. You know, nobody had heard of Zoom. Most people, I guess, out of local authorities wouldn't have heard of Teams until, you know, we're a couple of weeks into lockdown, then everybody was using it. So I think lockdown really emphasised the importance of technology and how you could use it and how actually it could really help remote working and the whole kind of, you know, work from home. As a business, we use a tool called Slack, and yeah, that's just been amazing for us. Not only just to collaborate, but also, you know, we had the emoji quizzes on a Friday. You know, we used it to share social stuff. So, you know, that was very much, you know, a technology that we embraced, I think, early on. Yeah, and the classic kind of, you know, VoIP telephones and all that kind of stuff. Literally pick that up and plug it into the router at home, and it works. So I think they've coped very well. And
what about the kind of well-being side? You know, it has been difficult, hasn't it? Like you said, we've been on a bit of an emotional journey as well throughout lockdown, and I can absolutely relate to your stories around the Prime Minister announcing next day, all kind of having to rally around what we needed to do, and having, you know, you kind of full steam ahead, but at the same time you're all trying to process yourselves what's going on and dealing with your family situation. So how's that worked for Key?
I think we've coped. You know, a couple of guys that are on the team have got you know, kids at school, so you know, I know as a manager I need to appreciate the I don't really want to call them difficulties, but issues that they might have with homeschooling and, you know, whilst the kids were off. And from my point of view, it was trying to be as flexible as possible, you know, being as trusting as possible to just say, look, this is the situation we're in. I now need to trust you in order to get the job done. And yeah, that's all I needed to say, really, first and foremost, when we went into lockdown. And, you know, leave it for people to kind of get on with. We had a bit of a phased return whenever it was, about 6 weeks ago. Started to come back to the office. You know, you probably see behind me, I've got screens up and everything, and you know, desk perspex screens and things. So we're COVID safe and we've got all the measures in place. Started to come back to the office, and then blow me down. You know, Boris said, okay, we now need to work from home wherever you can. So I think we just started to get that kind of social interaction back in the office, and I think that's the bit I think that the team have missed. The social connection, looking out for one another. McDonald's Fridays, you know, always go down well. You know, so yeah, we're, you know, as most small businesses, we're a close-knit team, and I think it's just that. It's those little things, the conversations that you overhear when somebody's on the phone, or an email comes in and they go, "Oh, you know, not another issue," but yeah, it's all of those little things. But no, I'm pleased to say that, you know, I think we're as productive as we are working from home.
Definitely. And I know you do an awful lot of social stuff as well. I've seen pictures of you guys out all muddy and goodness knows what you were doing, but
yeah.
So yeah, it is hard to replicate that. And as much as we've tried to do, I think we've done kind of quizzes and art classes, we've done virtual escape rooms, you know, as much as you try and do that, you can't, it's different to that real human interaction, isn't it? Face to face. It's hard to replicate.
Absolutely.
So you then, with all this going on, actually managed to bring a new product to market despite all this. So tell me a bit about that.
Okay, well, this is a product called Holiday Maker.
Mm-hmm.
I have to say, there's actually two others on the call at the moment who've been instrumental in getting this to market. So this isn't this is a team effort, very much so. So Jamie, Dave Mack, thank you for your contribution to this, because we wouldn't have got there without their input as well. But I think part of our longer business strategy, I'm quite lucky. You know Dave Mack. I've had him as a bit of a business mentor for the past 3 years, and he's always pushed me to have a long-term strategy, which was to have something else aside from the agency. So, you know, and in this case, to actually have a product, to try and come up with a product idea that's, you know, not altogether associated with the agency, that is predominantly service-led, and view it as another income stream, so another set of opportunities. And about 12 months ago, I guess, small group of us, including Jamie and Dave, was sat in our dev room. You've seen our dev room, which has got big whiteboards all around the office space, and we started doodling on the walls, and really mapping out the customer journey for a holiday park guest. So a guest that would, you know, go on a caravan holiday to a holiday park. And we've done a bit of investigation into the customer journey, and kind of identified that there was almost a missing link when people were on the park. So when they are actually on the holiday park or on the caravan park. And we kind of we started batting scenarios backwards and forwards. And Jamie, as I say, who's on the call, he'd recently joined us, and he'd got some very strong app experience. And we started coming out with all these different scenarios. And every time he kept saying, "Well, I know an app will do that." "Oh yeah, but what about this?" No, an app will do that. And the more we came up with these scenarios, the more he said, "Well, an app will do that." So that was kind of how Holiday Maker came about. So I guess over the last 6 months, what that concept, the concept of what was just an app, has kind of grown into more than just a downloadable app. So it's now a full-blown platform. So Holiday Maker is the product. It's very simple, but a very clever idea, to the point where you have one area or one place that you add your content to, and it then gets pushed out to different devices or surfaces. So if you imagine that you'd have your website content management system, you'd add all your content in there, and then all that information, you decide where it gets pushed out to. So does it go to your website? Does it go to your app? Does it go to digital signage? Or might be a tablet in the reception at the holiday park? That's where you want to deliver. And you know, even down to, you know, we've been doing some work around voice activated devices like the Alexa and the Google Minis. So it was a baptism by fire. So we our first beta client was a decent sized holiday park down in Devon. You know, these guys turn over probably 14, 15 million a year. Got an entertainment centre, swimming pools, and we showed it to them and they went, yeah, we'll have it. It's just like, right, okay. And literally the day after Boris announced tourism could reopen on July the 4th, we launched the app with them.
Wow. So,
as I say, it's been a you know, pretty phenomenal ride, really. They had over, or have had over 5,000 downloads of their app since we installed it. The feedback has been amazing. 90% of their, we've been told that 90% of their guests actually arrive with the app already installed on their phones. So you imagine as soon as they walk, through the gates at the holiday park, this app can be buzzing in their pockets, sending them push notifications and different things. So yeah, a lot of cool stuff. If you want to have a look at it, holidaymakerapp.co.uk. Yeah, we've managed to secure a second holiday park up in the lakes, which is great. So we're now working on that second version, and yeah, I've had a lot of good interest so far. So it's been good. Brilliant.
You're right. I have been in the key offices, and your other signage is #this is where the magic happens.
It is.
And I think that's really appropriate to have pulled this off through lockdown, through COVID. I think that is absolutely reflective of your hashtag. So in terms of marketing, then it's got to be a bit of a challenge now with the holiday parks, the hospitality industry having gone through what they have done, had such a hard time. So how are you now going around marketing this product, or the Holiday Maker app? Sorry.
No, you're right. It's a difficult time for us. We next month we should have been at the Holiday Innovation Show up at the NEC for 3 days, but that's now been pushed back till March. So we kind of have to wait a little bit for that one. I think one of the biggest issues for us is that every time we talk to people about it, they go, "Oh, can it do that?" And we go, "Well, that's a good idea. We'll add that in as functionality." So it's almost like, actually, how do we rein in our enthusiasm for this? Yeah. But that's also so when we start talking to clients and potential clients about it, they can see that there is very much kind of longevity to this with them as a product. So actually selling it in isn't that difficult. As you say, the bit that's challenging is actually how do we get in front of them. So we've done the classic bit, like, I challenged the team to build a brand spanking new website to go with it. So that's out there. I have to say, we've been doing some good old-fashioned PR. Writing some press releases, sending those out to industry related magazines and finding opportunities online for those. We're trying to do something different with a bit of direct marketing. So I just literally signed off today some sounds a bit naff, but some cardboard cutouts of the app, and we've got these little tiny, I've got them on my desk, but little tiny mini deck chair, and we're going to be sending those out in the post to potential park owners, just as a kind of,
I love that. That's so creative. I think that's brilliant.
It's a way of just sort of trying to make it a bit more memorable.
Yeah.
So.
Oh. Do I'm just conscious of time, and I think what you've managed to pull off is absolutely brilliant. And we've obviously got a huge tourism industry in Dorset, so I really hope that they support you and that this continues to grow. We do have a question in the chat bar, Dave. I'm not sure whether you want to take it or not, because it's from Mr. McRobbie. So Dave has asked, how important is it and how difficult will it be to build an app and tech business in West Dorset?
Oh, See, I'm kind of hoping that we stay under the. I shouldn't say this because I think it's a bit of a USP for us. But I'm kind of hoping that we stay under the radar a little bit in, because sometimes I think this part of West Dorset is sort of thought of as being a little bit sleepy and, etc. But, knowing that there are other businesses like, is it Crowdfunder over in Bridport? There's some really, top level tech businesses out here, and I'd like to think that we're amongst those. So I think we're trying to do it under the radar. It is though trying to find talent.
Yeah.
That is the key thing. Is trying to find talent that's going to help us grow as a business.
And actually, I don't know for you, but for me, COVID and virtually working has kind of opened up our doors around that and enabling people that perhaps wouldn't have usually come and work for Dorset to do that virtually now. So it has widened that talent pool for us.
No, exactly. And you're absolutely right. The more, I think the more we do of remote work, remote working now, it's about adapting, and it's businesses thinking about, okay, how do we now take on those challenges of having team members that are going to be out in different places. We did it yesterday with a client meeting. There was 6 of us on the call, but we were all in different, locations, back bedrooms, and etc. And it's really just trying to manage that and get it to work.
Fiona's, and I thought Fiona would like this as you were saying it, but she's commented on that you're using some traditional marketing tools for digital solutions. I like it. And I also know that you've actually been picking up the phone and talking to people quite a lot as well, haven't you? And I think, again, that's something else that we've craved in terms of COVID, just actually staying away from the technology and just talking to people again. And so.
Yeah, I think, again, another lesson that's come out of COVID is talk to your customers. They're having as bad a time as we are, and you just don't know what they're going through. So it's very much about picking the phone up, just saying, "Hi, how's things? You all okay? Great. Then I'll catch up next time."
Brilliant. I'm just hanging on because it looks like Susie's typing. Susie, did you want to put your mic on and speak? Is that easier?
I was just going to say, I'm really sorry I've got to jump off to do some awkward to do some COVID updates, ironically.
On our website.
Yeah, but that has been really interesting, and I didn't know that you guys were down in, I didn't know about you guys, David. So yeah, from like a personal point of view, professionally, that's quite interesting. I didn't know that there was a digital agency in Poundbury.
Poundbury's best secret.
Yeah, so that was really interesting. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's a fantastic note to end on. So I think Delia probably has something she needs to post into the chat and to remind us. We've got a bit of a spiel, haven't we, Delia? Is she still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. Yeah, if you can post on Twitter what you liked about the session, that would be really, really great. And thanks, David. It was a really, really interesting talk. And like Susie said, it's just knowing that you're there and how you can help us as well. It's really good. Thank you. And don't forget to watch the rest of the sessions for the next day and a half. We've still got more sessions going on
to come, and I look forward to seeing the pictures of the deck chair and
yeah.
And yeah, I can't wait to see that. That's brilliant. Thanks ever so much, everybody.
You're welcome.
Take care. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.